My name's Ryan Fwiz Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T. I've been commentating Call of Duty since 2008 with Call of Duty 4. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I run live in esports at Machinima, and I commentate MLG events, Gfinity, and Activision events.
What do you think of Call of Duty Ghosts so far?
I think Call of Duty Ghosts is it's an exciting game. I think it really is. It's got a lot of entertainment value, especially playing publicly. I think from an esports standpoint, there's work that needs to be made to the game. I think the broadcaster mode that they just put in on Thursday before we kicked off the event was a good start. I think it still needs work. I believe we were spoiled by how involved Treyarch was from an esports perspective. But again, I'm happy with the game. I think Call of Duty esports is much bigger than any single Call of Duty game that comes through.
Do you think it's a step back from Black Ops 2, though?
That's like relative to whatever you believe in, right? I mean, I think there's the progression of the game is relative, right? So I think in esports, from a functionality standpoint, it's a step back from Black Ops 2. But I actually have more fun publicly playing the game than I did Black Ops 2. So it's relative.
What is your favorite thing about podcasting?
My favorite thing about podcasting is it's the same thing as why I got involved to begin with. I like entertaining people and educating people at a base level about what Call of Duty esports is, and I like seeing the Call of Duty esports scene grow. I like growing with that scene as well. But I got involved just because I had this passion for just being competitive and love of Call of Duty, and those two things kind of together. And nobody was commentating Call of Duty. I was like the first one that did it for MLG and game battles, and I did it just because I wanted people to be informed about Call of Duty esports.
What do you say to those people that say Call of Duty isn't worth having an esport of? It's just so easy.
No, I think people can have an opinion about that. I think that's fine, right? If somebody feels that Call of Duty is too easy or there's not big of enough skill gap, I mean, that's an opinion, right? And it is what it is. I work in esports for Machinima, so I follow League of Legends, I follow StarCraft, I follow Dota, I follow Call of Duty. I'm kind of in the esports scene as a whole, so I have probably is less typical when you kind of enjoy watching all of the different esports titles. But I can understand some people they're very set in their ways, and they're like, this game is my esports title. It's the only legitimate esports title, and any other one kind of doesn't make sense. So it's just an opinion. Everyone's entitled to one.
Who's the most explosive player and the most explosive team in esports right now?
In all of esports?
Esports and
or Call of Duty esports?
Both.
So I think the most explosive team in esports right now is Cloud9 in League of Legends, because they came out of the scene from relegation and became the number one team in North America. But then there's teams all around the world when you start talking about like SK Telecom and some of the Korean teams in League of Legends. Navi's been doing great things, Alliance and Dota. I mean, there's a lot. It's hard to say which team is great in esports. As far as Call of Duty is concerned, it's a no-brainer. It's complexity. I don't even know if that's really an opinion. When you've won 7 out of the last 8 championships, that's pretty much becomes a fact that that's the most explosive team.
Okay. What about your favorite team in Call of Duty right now?
My favorite team is Optic Gaming. A little biased because my best friend runs Optic Gaming. But, I've known those guys for 6 years now, all the people that are on Optic Gaming. I think they really struggled this event, finishing in only top 16. I think 13th or 16th they ended up finishing. But I think that team can win again. It's just going to have to take focus and determination, and they need to be dedicated more.
Okay, who's your favorite player in Call of Duty right now?
That's a tough one. I kind of like, I would say TP and Aches kind of fascinate me, because TP handles himself in a very mature way. He's very PR friendly. He's incredibly talented. And then you've got Aches, who's more polarizing. You'll either talk to somebody that loves Aches, or you'll talk to somebody that hates Aches. But that duo has won so many championships together. So I would say I find those two to be the most fascinating to me. I definitely don't have a favorite player. I've known these guys for so long that I couldn't. It's it's like, which one's your favorite friend, right? I love all of them. They're all great guys, but I've always found that two duo, since they teamed together a couple of years ago, to be the most fascinating to me.
You work a lot with Optic. You did the Lonely Island thing with them,
yeah.
Syndicate. Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans to work with them in collabs in the future?
I'm sure we'll do something together. We never organized it. The Hunting Optic thing was never even an organized series. We just were playing Minecraft, and Syndicate was recording, and it turned out to be something that was pretty big, right, on YouTube. did a lot of views, I guess, for Syndicate. Not anything right now planned. We were talking the other night about doing something. Clearly, the guys, as far as the Optic players, need to focus on Call of Duty, right? So they need to be playing. I doubt that they'll get in Minecraft. Clearly, they've got a bad rap because people say that they've been focusing on that and not focusing on competitive. That was a hard argument on the side of blaming them when they were finishing second at Full Sail, and clearly that wasn't the reason. When they finished top 16, that opinion becomes a little bit heavier of a weighted opinion that's what they're doing. So I imagine Hex, Syndicate, and I will do something. Maybe the boys will join. Well, who knows? But I've been friends with Syndicate for years. I've been friends with Hex for years, and we love Minecraft. I'm sure at some point we'll do something together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about your personal life, if you're okay with talking about that? Yeah,
I've got a wonderful girlfriend for a couple of years now. I live out in L.A., and I work for Machinima. I'm at home visiting my family. From Ohio State, or from Ohio. I went to Ohio State. I'm from the Cleveland area, so I'm excited to visit my family here at MLG Columbus. And again, MLG is my favorite event because MLG Columbus is my favorite event because that's where I'm from.
Go Badgers.
Yeah, there you go. All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Where do you see esports going in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, esports in the next 5 years is going to continue to grow in a big way, right? It's what games will continue to scale and be massive, like a League of Legends or a Dota. I think in order to really get as big as a game like League of Legends, you have to have a very big international presence, something Call of Duty doesn't have outside of Europe and North America, a little bit in South America, but you don't see Call of Duty just massively blowing up in China or Korea and so forth. So it's going to take a while for Call of Duty to scale. But esports is big. I mean, I think humans are naturally wired to be competitive individuals. I mean, whether your level of competitiveness can vary, but I think by default, a lot of us are wired to be competitive. And if you have a lot of people that like gaming, a lot of people that are wired to be competitive, esports will always be somewhere in between those two.
Can you give me the origins of your phrase, chiboy?
Yeah, I would always just be like that just kind of mess around in the office where it was like, it's actually from Jay-Z, because Jay-Z says it in reference to like, it's your boy, you know? So I actually took it from a Jay-Z track, which I just would use it jokingly, and clearly it's kind of picked up its own kind of life, you know? So I do like yelling it every once in a while.
Can you give me one?
Chiboy! There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Where do you see COD going in the next couple of years?
Hard to say. It's so volatile when you have a new Call of Duty every year. I have no idea. You know, it's really hard to. You have to take. Unfortunately, you have to take Call of Duty on a year-by-year basis because you don't know the depth of how much esports is going to be involved in the game. You don't know how the balance of the game is going to be. It's one of those games you just cannot predict the future of. Unfortunately.
Okay. Just a couple more questions.
Sure.
First off, your work with Machinima has been widely publicized. Why does Machinima get such a bad rap, and do you think they deserve it?
When you get, as a company, when you start to get bigger, people have opinions, right? And, there's things that we've had growing experiences as a company that we've learned through and that we've had to respond to the community and do things differently. And that's just part of a company growing up, right? And Machinima and the gaming community, all these companies, MLG, Machinima, Twitch, all of them, IGN, gamers have opinions, right? They're very opinionated people, rightfully so. So I think there's a lot for us to be proud of that we've done at Machinima. We have a lot of great influencers that started at Machinima that are huge. People like Syndicate, like C-Nanners, PewDiePie, all these people were at Machinima. They started at Machinima, and they're massive now. So I think there's a lot to be proud of. Of course, just like anything in life, sometimes the things that are negative end up being magnified more. But I'm incredibly proud of the company and the direction we've gone and where we plan on going.
Let's say Call of Duty, because of Ghosts, completely flops and fails, and now Battlefield 4's premier FPS, League of Legends, and Dota are still just as big as they were. Would you stay in MLG? Would you continue to cast?
It's a hard question. I wouldn't say no or yes, right? I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of the road. I've casted Rainbow Six. I've casted some other games, but I've always been a Call of Duty commentator, right? That's what I've casted. I've casted Call of Duty. I play a ton of League of Legends. I've played Dota. I could definitely cast another game. I just don't know if it's something I'd want to do or not. I do Call of Duty because I really just love it and have fun doing it. It is by no means any kind of cash cow doing casting for Call of Duty. It's not any kind of lucrative lifestyle that you get from doing it. I do it for fun. If I were to cast another game, At the end of that, I just have to enjoy doing it. Like if Battlefield became big, I don't know if I would. I play Battlefield casually. I think it's an amazing game. I don't know if my passion's got to be aligned to do it. So that's kind of where my mentality is. There's casters that are, like they're like prize fighter casters, right? That's what they do for a living. Like Golden Boy casts a lot of different games, and he wants to be a commentator for a living, and that's awesome. I'm a different caster. I just cast Call of Duty because I'm passionate about it, and have never really thought about doing any other games.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Playing too much video games, man. That's my guilty pleasure, dude. Playing Hearthstone for like 11 hours when I got the beta. That's pretty much my guilty pleasure. There's really not much else. I work, hang out with my girlfriend, and play video games, dude. That's my life. So there's not too many other guilty pleasures.
Let's say hypothetically that a massive influx of people from Russia, China, all over the world started coming into competitive Call of Duty. Do you think it would change the way that competitive Call of Duty is run?
I think it would have to. I think at that point, if you saw it, I mean, that's a big if, right? I mean, that's a variable that is highly unlikely. But in the event, because Call of Duty in China is actually is a whole different game. It's a free-to-play Call of Duty game. So I can't imagine that actually ever happening. But in the event that it did, to entertain the question, it would have to be way more organized. And I think Activision would have to get involved more, like Riot gets involved. You have like a OGN in South Korea that does League of Legends matches. They're operating on their own, but at the same time, Riot's involved in all of the players and what all the players are doing in LCS, and that you have to have some kind of like jurisdiction that allows them to make sure that rule sets are the same and that players are adhering to some kind of ethics policy and how they carry themselves, and it'll be much more of an organized kind of system at that point, right? Instead of these one-off organizations trying to figure it out. But yeah, if it ever got to scale that big, I think Activision would have to get involved.
Okay. Xbox One or PS4? Really quick.
I own them both.
Really? Which one do you like slightly more?
I can't. To be honest with you, like I'm looking for. I got the PlayStation 4 just for Watch Dogs, and I got the Xbox One just for Titanfall. Really? So yeah.
Which one do you play COD on?
I'll probably end up playing COD on Xbox One because I play on Xbox because Xbox is the one that we play here. So I like to stay on that if that's what we're doing. But again, I don't know. Like moving forward, if we go to Xbox One or PlayStation 4 with MLG, I don't think MLG knows. So I'll end up playing like when Modern Warfare was on the online pro circuit. I was playing on PlayStation that whole year. So because that's where it was on MLG. So I'm actually one of those people who I play on everything because I play a ton of PC games, play PlayStation and Xbox. So I'm actually one of those unique individuals. Just like I love all kind of esports, I'm cool with all those consoles. I use them. I don't have really a preference, right? Like I play the games. If the console has an exclusive game that I want to play, I buy that console.
What's the next event, and what event are you looking forward to most in the next year?
MLG Anaheim, and I don't know when it is. It's publicized. You'll be able to find out. It's not too far away. I think it's the first of the year at some point. And Call of Duty Championships, I'm probably most looking forward to.
Okay, cool. Will you be casting that?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Cool.
Yeah, as far as contracts go and like signing up in front of like to do events, they usually it's like 6 weeks out before we know. So right now I have no idea what the next event is. Usually that's pretty common though in the space. Like when Gfinity reaches out, when MLG reaches out, am I gonna probably come and say yeah? I think there would have to be something interesting to happen for me to not commentate Call of Duty Championships or MLG Anaheim or the next Gfinity. But it's hard to say because it's not locked in yet.
What advice do you have for people at home getting into esports or Call of Duty?
If you want to get into esports, so Call of Duty, I mean, if you want to get into esports, work hard, find a passion, right? Like I did another interview. There's people that are working in production. There's people there's cameramen. There's journalists. There's commentators. And there's referees, there's everything in between. So find what you want to do, have a passion. If it's really something you want to do, be dedicated, stick to it, work hard. I didn't get where I'm at overnight. It took 6 years to get where I'm at today. So it takes time, and a lot of people aren't willing to put that much time into it. And if you're not, then it's not going to happen. Nothing happens overnight. None of these people on YouTube that became big happened overnight. It's a grind, so you got to stick to it.
And anything else you want to say to the people at home?
No, thanks for all the support. You can check me out at twitter.com/Fwiz, and I appreciate everybody that's come up to me, and thanks for doing the interview.
Cool. Thanks for watching.
All right.
Peace out.